All right, so I want to talk about Punnett squares. And let's just go through this real quick, and then I'll discuss a little bit more. So Punnett squares is really about the predictability of traits, trying to figure out from one generation to the next. Now, in our example, we're going to go ahead and do a widow's peak. And we'll just kind of set this up. So part of your homework in terms of your genetic family tree is to think about what traits are showing up, especially in terms of a dominant trait. And we're going to really work on that capital D. And then also the recessive traits as we look at that in your family. And again, I like that little lowercase r, or the lowercase and the uppercase in order to show things out. Now, from the widow's peak, we're going to focus on these W's. So the dominant will be a capital, and the recessive will be a lowercase. So those would be some of our genotypes as we look at this. And we pair this up, obviously because of the parents. So let's say it could be a capital, or it could be a lowercase, and then one would come from mom, and one come from dad. So there's kind of an example of that genotype. Now, what I'd like to do is set up our Punnett square. So on the smartboard, we'll just create a quick little box to set this up. And we can adjust our lines here in just a little bit. It's not bad. Let's just go with that. I'm going to go ahead and group this. And that will hopefully make it easy for our cloning. I'll probably even just clone one just right off so that I can use this Punnett square a little bit later. Okay, so let's just come back up here. Now, here's the hard part in terms of our research. One of the things that I said that we have to really work on is working on figuring out this genotype. So on a Punnett square, we're going to go ahead and list, so let's say mom up on the side and dad off to the side as well. And we've got to figure out what goes here in terms of our mathematical equation. Now, with that being said, let's go back just a little bit, take some of those off so we know where we're going. We're going to have to look at some of our pictures. And let's say after looking at a picture, we notice that mom, on her genotype, she does not have a widow's peak. So we essentially can set up the equation like this, lowercase, lowercase. Now, if you look in the mirror on yourself, maybe we could fill out one of the boxes down here. So let's say you don't have a widow's peak. Well, then we could go ahead and put in lowercase, lowercase. I just like to put it in the lower box just to kind of get things out of the way. And let's just pretend that dad has a widow's peak. So we know he's got a capital W. The only question is it uppercase, lowercase, or is it uppercase, uppercase in order to show his genotype? Well, let's just go ahead and work a little bit of this. We would have to say that if you do not have, a widow's peak, then that has to be a lowercase, but wait, he does have it, so there's our capital W. When you do the math, you've then got your capital and lowercase, and your capital and lowercase, and then you've got two lowercase, which shows to be, if you've got a 25% chance up here and a 25% chance here, 25% chance here, 25% chance here, then essentially you had a 50% chance of coming up with no widow's peak or a 50% chance of a widow's peak. All right? So there's some of our quick math that we've got there as we look at our Punnett squares. Now, let's just say we want to double check, or maybe we want to run another scenario. So we'll go ahead and put mom up here again. And with mom, we did know that she did not have, okay? And then as we list dad over here, dad did have, but maybe he really had that purebred trait. So as we do this, in order to try and figure us out, we have uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase, and the same thing down here, which then gives us a 100% chance of having that widow's peak. However, notice that all of these are hybrids. So now the offspring, in terms of the traits that it passes on, that could be a whole different story. So in terms of real quick recap on a widow's peak, You're going to have to do your homework on the dominant and recessive traits. Then make sure you fill out and start to set up the outside perimeter of your square.